All right. We have waited for 5 minutes. I think that's a good time to wait when you do an online session. Thank you so much for taking time uh, to join this session on a Friday. I think mostly this is the last week before Christmas, and everybody is beginning their holiday season. So I wanted to spend some time to understand or share my experiences in this last 1 year. The technology is changing very rapidly, and there are a lot of things people want to do. And I know a couple of you personally on this session, where all of us are wanting to build our own startups or wanting to skill uh, scale up your sessions or your product. So, coming back to this session, I want to just focus on the basics, the 5 things as entrepreneurs which we might be missing, and what are the new aspects which are coming into picture, which will help us scale or get a stable foundation. So, to give you a quick introduction about myself, I run 2 organizations. One, Haplo. It's a bootstrap commercial real estate SaaS platform. I have a co-founder and 2 team members. We have bootstrapped it completely on our own, and we've been running it about for 3 years now. We have 4 major commercial real estates on our platform, and slowly we are adding new clients over a period of time. The other organization is my personal passion, Studio Navaka, where I do, fractional CDO work and product management and strategy work. I consult with organization. Right now, I think my plate is full with about 3 organizations I'm doing it. And also, as a passion, I'm building my YouTube channel, and my book on ideation and starting up should be out in the first quarter. It's got very delayed, but yeah, next quarter it should come. So, without any delay, I will start the session. If you have any questions, please feel free to keep pinging me on the IM. And also, just to let you know, I'm recording this session. I'll probably leave it on YouTube for you to refer to it or want to share it and for others to look at it. So, before I begin, I'll start with a small code. If you want to scale up, first fix your bottlenecks. Growth depends on how well your weakest link performs. So, predominantly, what happens is as entrepreneurs, we get very emotional to our idea. One of the biggest challenges for entrepreneurs is that the emotional connect between the idea. Should you not have, you should have your emotional connect. However, we should also develop our skill in such a way that we keep stepping out of our comfort zone and having a bird's eye view of how we are doing. I think we are the best self critics. I'll start with 2 famous examples. What you know, one is Mailchimp, which is from America. The story of Mailchimp is very fascinating. They started Ben and Den started it in 2001 because they had a small publishing house and they wanted to start sending mailers. And 2001 was early with people adopting to technology and getting a lot of things into their aspects. So that's when they started. They bootstrapped and they continued to bootstrap, but they focused on only solving one problem. How do I efficiently send emails to my clients when I have their email ID? Over a period of time, there were a lot of other platforms which came. Everybody was, wanting to take the pie of the problem, and that's when they persisted until 2009 when they went on to make it a freemium model where they gave 500 emails free. And overnight, from about 40,000 registered users, it shot up to 450,000 registered users, and the rest is history. In 2021, MailChimp got sold to Intuit for about 12 billion, if I'm not wrong. So that's a story of persistence. The other example I have is of Canva. And this is my favorite example where, if I'm not wrong, Martha or something was her name, and she started out of Perth, Australia. And the initial years were very, very difficult. So all she wanted to do was democratize design, because many people wanted to do design, and it was getting very difficult for them in terms of uh, having access to good designers. So that's the whole idea she started with, and she had a lot of challenges in terms of securing a funding or anything for that matter of fact. And I think 2013 or 14 is when finally they cracked the pod, and they went ahead and secured funding from a Silicon Valley based investors, and the rest is history. Today, Canva is valued at about 40 billion just in about a decade. So that's the power of persistence, and that's what I wanted to focus on. And when I work with entrepreneurs, predominantly I work with entrepreneurs who are building it on their own, because I understand the pain of building on own and how you can actually go up. Yes, you should take funding at some point of time, but you should also evaluate what kind of funding you need and how you want to scale and things like that. So that's the whole motive behind me sharing this example. And if I'm not wrong, many here are bootstrapped and also trying to raise fund or whatever. I hope this session helps. And why MailChimp survived? They had the power of bootstrapping. The biggest advantage of bootstrapping is you have control of your idea. You are completely in control, nobody to dictate you. If you are successful, you are the reason. If you are a failure, you are a reason. That's where the whole thing matters. And you can play around with the idea. The moment you bring investors onto picture, you will need to be abiding. So you have gotten yourself a manager. Most of you, like me, must have quit your job and started your company, and you quit because you didn't like the corporate world, or you didn't like your manager, whatever it can be reason, or the passion to start up. And end of the day, you come out and again you recruit a manager. Again, we don't know how it's going to be. So the power of bootstrapping is always good. Uh, Customer driven innovation. MailChimp has heard from their customers very consistently, and they have been incorporating features and functionality based on the feedback. And strategic thinking, where you want to go. MailChimp, if you see, or Canva, both of them are very clear with the idea. One wants to meet all the needs of a company's digital marketing scenario, digital marketing platform. They just want to be that. So they have been adding features based on that. Canva focused on democratizing design. They give you the app and you can start designing on your own. Now they had it Canva Live. Actually, I did this presentation on Canva. And if I wanted, I can do a live where you can scan and you can keep asking questions and all this stuff. So they've added way many to me features, both of them, which is helping a lot to have more access to people, more access to presentation, creating their own logo, whatever it can be. And that's the impact what each one has created. And both of them have been trying to solve real-time problems. That's another key takeaway. Don't all other ideas solve real-time problems? They do, but these are much more pertinent to a startup success or a scale-up success than anything else. So Canva is the same thing. They have focused on problem-driven innovation. They've been looking at it and growing it that way. They were persistent. She never ever let go of the idea, and she was focusing on that. And you have to simplify complexity. So if you are building a product or idea, you really need to address the problem in such a way that more and more people can start using it. And how easily can you solve the problem? So that's the key focus area, what you need to focus, so that you have more people adopting to your idea and that becomes more successful. And Canva had a global impact. MailChimp also had a global impact, but Canva, I think, had a faster global impact than MailChimp. MailChimp, we heard over the last few years, but Canva, from day one, we have been hearing about the designs and things like that. So now, coming to the theme of our session today, or my session today, what are the 5 key things as a startup you can focus on in 2025 and utilize resources which are more economical, and how I'm sorry, there's somebody just wanting to come in. Um, the five key areas which you want to focus on, and how you can use the new resources to help scale or build your startup. So I've categorized these into five different components. So the product, the finance, which is the most important, your idea, the money, how are you going to build the team, how are you going to engage with your customers or clients, and last but not the least, culture. This is one thing what I noticed in many startups, and the startups what I've worked for after starting Studio Navaka in the last 3 years, is they don't focus on culture. Many people feel that as the team grows, the culture will be built. That's false. So from the moment you have a co-founder, you should ensure you are having the co-founder on the same page. And many co-founders or team members today work on equity and things like that. So you have to hook them to the passion and the problem what you're trying to solve. That's where the difference comes in. So coming back to the five aspects, so let's look at each one and how we can address each one. For a startup, in the product market fit is the first challenge. Scaling the product market fit for scale ups, and how you solve this problem is continuous and structured customer delivery. Don't worry, I'll give you what that means and what are the key things you need to focus on that. And I'll also touch upon few tools what you can use to build this into your product. The second one is money. This for startups, it's bootstrapping. Today, no investor in the world is giving money at an idea stage. If somebody is giving you money at the idea stage, ask a simple question: why, and why are they giving, and how much equity they are asking, or whatever it may be. So it's very important to consider investments not at the bootstrap stage, because you should try your product out and have confidence in terms of how you do it. The second part is for the scale ups is when you raise the fund, how you should manage your cash burn. It's very important. Raising 10,000, 20,000, 50,000, $100,000 or 1 crore or 2 crore in INR, that might not be a big thing, but managing your cash burn becomes very, very important for you when you are scaling up. You have to be very, very careful in every rupee you spend, every dollar you spend, because you don't know if you're going to raise the fund very soon and you have to last that long. Otherwise, you're failing and the investor's money is going down the drain. How do you address this? Is by adopting something called lean revenue model, which is nothing but identifying what your priorities are and spending money there rather than just going ahead and investing. As a simple example, if you can use SaaS for a design, let's say Canva, you can use that instead of hiring a designer from day one. And when you from the day one or when you're scaling up. But it's also important you need to bring in good designers. So probably you can get a design person who can play with Canva and get you the results. And as the money keeps coming in, as the revenue keeps coming in, you can start scaling up. So that's one aspect to it. So the third point is building teams. So this is one challenge, common challenge more than money. What I have seen in people is how to get the right set of people onto my team by them. Second part, resources are very expensive. Many people definitely when you're wanting to recruit, you want to recruit an experienced person. Probably the experienced person is working somewhere and the skill set matches you, but unfortunately you're not able to afford them because they're too high in compensation. So how do you address these things? So for that, what you look at is building equity slash compensation kind of a structure, which will help you ease the pain of the pressure you have in bringing key sets of teams. I'll talk about how you can address this. There are a lot of consultants, there are a lot of other ways to do it. I'll talk about in the slide when I talk how you can address that. The customers part, if you look at, for a startup, finding the first customer is the biggest challenging thing. And for scale ups, retaining your customer is very important. So once you have given an experience, it cannot go back. I will share my personal story. So when Haplo started, we didn't have a product to do. So because we were doing some other product before, we burned some cash there, and then we were pivoting to commercial real estate. We wanted to ensure we have a client first. Imagine, and in these kind of times, finding a client first, then building the solution and giving it. Fortunately, we got one client like that. It was a commercial real estate with about 16,000 seater office space. And that gentleman was kind enough, said, give me your idea. And he listened to the idea and said, look, I'm going live in 6 months. Can you deliver to me in 6 months? We said, yes. And that's how we started building, and we delivered in 6 months. And it's 3 years now. They've been using consistently. A lot of features came into picture. But yeah, that's how we have built it. So that became our investment to build it out. The second aspect is retaining the customer. So the second client we signed about 2 years back, one of the decision makers of the second client quit and joined a competitive company. And they recently called us for their commercial real estate. And I said, thank you so much. You need not have to remember us. There are a lot of people in the market who can do this. The only thing he said is, Hari, I worked with you for 2 years now, and we know nobody in this world will pick up the phone when we call or reply to a WhatsApp when we do. They will do it at their own pace. But we really liked your team because one of you will respond within 30 minutes. And we understand everybody is busy, everybody is in the work. And whenever you see the message, you respond. So ensure for this client too, because this client can promise you a huge growth. Never ever compromise on the quality of service you provide. We don't mind if there is a breakage in the system, but as long as you are providing that kind of service, people really, really appreciate that, and they will stick to you. So that's our experience I wanted to share. And how do you do this is organic growth strategies. So don't run. If you can find clients in your location, not far away, start building on them. For Haplo, I'll give you a small example. The commercial real estate market is so big in India and around the world. And we were talking, I'm based out of Bangalore. So our product, if we do right, if we can get even 50% of Bangalore market, we will be at a $500,000 revenue per month. So we need not go out. We need not travel anywhere to even find clients. So all in summary, I'm saying is, please ensure that you're being very frugal when you are building up your startup. So when you don't have money and when you have to control the expense of your money, please ensure you get customers in your surrounding areas as much as you can. Yes, you might say that, Hari, my idea is different. There are not many people who will use it. I have an AI product. I do understand that. So see what can go into the surroundings, what you have, and then start scaling up. It becomes more easier. So that's the organic growth strategy. And the last but not the least, building culture. I will talk about it towards the end. But the vision and mission is the most important, what you need to have in mind and push that across to your team from day one. I'll give you a small example. I worked for a company called Cerner. I joined them in 2003. I spent 13 years there before I quit in 2016. The company does not exist today. In 2020, Oracle purchased Cerner, and Cerner does not exist anymore today. But I still remember the vision to connect the appropriate person at the appropriate time and provide optimal outcomes, optimal output and output. That's the vision they had. So the first 1 month, what they pushed through the induction program is so hard that I've even not forgotten it 6 years after I quit the company. So buy in, let people buy into the vision and mission. And these are all things in your hand. Nobody outside need not come and tell you. Your passion can translate into all these things and how you can build. I can give few examples of the audience here, but I will refrain until they want to share. But yeah, it is all in your hand to build the story for yourself. Any questions or anything to this? All right. So the first part, customer delivery, and there are a couple of points I want to focus here. So who's your target customer? Value proposition, understand the needs, feature set, and user experience. These are the things what you need to focus on when you are building your customer discovery framework. Why I have target customer and value proposition in green is because this is consistent among all the other four phases. So that's why I have it in green. So understand your target customer. The better you understand, the more better is the outcome what you can get from your customer discovery phase. And when you get that, you can build your product better. And what's your core value proposition? This is something what all of us accept, and let's keep building on the value proposition. Um, Understanding the needs is when you get the feedback from the customer, prioritize your feature set, which one should go first, which one should. People will ask, give me a mobile app, give me a AI powered thing, but will they fit into your plan? They will, but not at this current stage, but at a later stage. So prioritize your feature set and start building on that. And end of the day, create an amazing user experience. That's what matters. The next point, what I talked about, is the lead revenue model. So again, target market, and the value proposition. Building your MVP, customer acquisition, feedback and loop, and scale incrementally. I can't emphasize more on this. Please don't think that I have to scale on day two. You cannot scale on day two. If you're scaling too fast, there are higher chances and probabilities that you might fail. So scale slowly and go slowly. For instance, when we were growing Haplo, we have not committed to only 5 components of the platform. Anything additional, we don't want to do it until we hit about 20 clients. So we have let go of also a few clients who said, no, we want this functionality, but said no. All I'm trying to give my example is because we are bootstrapped, we have never raised a fund, and we are surviving off whatever revenue we are generating. So probably if our story resonates, it might help you. So that's where I'm focusing on. So build the revenue. For building a lean revenue model, again, spend very wisely. Don't invest too much heavily on any software or technology and things like that, and start building it. And when you have money, you can start incorporating all the technology what is required. Lean teams, building lean teams. So this is one important factor. This is one thing I want to touch. If you want to look at it in any way, founder and co-founder, either they are quit the job and focusing on the idea. You have consultants and freelancers. Today, there are a lot of people in the world who are available, who can do the job for you. So for this, the founder and co-founder should be very, very strong in understanding what you're going to outsource, because here no other person is responsible. If you're getting a small mobile app developed, you need to have the requirements very clear, share it with the online guy, get it done from them, and you have to check if it is running, and you have to do everything. Yes, that's the best part of bootstrapping. You do everything on your own, but it also keeps the costs less. And last but not the least, if you're looking at scaling up, these days around the world, there are fractional CXO services which are available. Yeah, I do fractional CTO, but I'm saying fractional CXO services, which is your marketing, which is your sales, which is your there are even fractional CEOs. So COOs, HR, everybody. There are a lot of people who have at least 15 to 20 years experience, and they can work for you for a fraction of the cost what they usually charge, and utilize their expertise and utilize their experiences. Leave me a note if you want me to send a couple of websites where you can find people. You can find people. But otherwise, there are a lot of people in today's world who are offering the services. Capitalize on them, because these guys have done it, been there, done it with 20, 25 years experience and everything. And they, even if they spend one day with you, your problem will be solved. And because they have the global exposure, they can help you much better. So keep a lean team until you are very confident that you can have a team in-house. One of the misconceptions many startups have: investors don't invest when you're working with fractionals or consultants or freelancers. That's a very, very wrong misconception, because investors love the fact that you're being frugal and spending your money. So They really appreciate it. I've had conversations with investors. I'm not talking about the VC firms. I'm talking about regular investors who are very excited to work with people who keep things frugal and small and don't keep spending money just because it is in the bank account. So make use of these ideas and start building lean teams, which can help you grow exponentially. When I talked about organic growth, there are a couple of points what you need to look at. Again, target understanding your target audience, how the responses have been, what is your value proposition, how scalable, how to build a scalable execution engine, right? That's one of the important aspects. When you're getting clients and when you are adding more clients, how you can incrementally scale it. If a technology product, how do you scale it? If it's a physical product, how do you scale the manufacturing of it? All these things come into picture. How do you engage with your customer and retain them? There are few goods where we engage, we keep buying even though the customers are not, the companies are not engaging with us. For example, soda, Coke or Thumbs Up or something like that. We keep continuously buying even though they don't ask us any feedback. But today, most of the products work on the continuous feedback mechanism and how we are incorporating the changes what customers are suggesting. If we don't hear our customers, then probably we can't scale our idea or the product to a larger extent. And all capturing these metrics is very important for a startup, and it'll help you to grow very systematically and very strongly. And one of the other important aspect I want to mention is leveraging your network efforts. How do you reach out to people? How do you ask for this thing? Again, I'm not inventing anything, but Steve Jobs himself said if he wouldn't have picked up the phone and called Compaq, they wouldn't have sent any leftover additional parts for a computer, and he wouldn't have done what he has done. So there are many people like this. All you need to do is ask and reach out, and people will respond one day or the other. I can tell you, till now, I'll be very honest when I say this, and when I'm sharing my examples. I was wanting to do a couple of sessions, and the response from my network has been very minimal from a long time, right? But that didn't deter me to keep going and doing it every month. I think Luma did the magic for me this time, and it's helping me reach more people. So I would do this going forward. I want to do a session every month, so I'll reach out through Luma going forward. But again, leverage your network, your LinkedIn or your Twitter or something like that. All these people, there are places where you can go and network and get to speak with people to enhance your product or offering. All I'm saying is never ever stop yourself because you're not getting a response. You will get a response one day, and that response will matter to you a lot. Building culture, which I mentioned from the day one, you should focus on the culture part, and how you build the culture becomes very important. I've categorized this into three components after having conversations with few startups and companies which are in the scale up phase. So phase one is foundation, phase two is execution, phase three is scaling. So what goes into the foundation is defining your mission, vision, and goals, and align leadership and stakeholders to the same vision and mission. In the second part, use the goals to speak with people and understand how they're understanding your goals. For instance, OKR, one key results. It's a very complicated process. OKR, don't sign up for any tool. There are very expensive tools out there. Simple, have a goal and share it with your team, and have a mechanism to monitor how much they are buying into your goal and how much they have understood, how much they're contributing. If you do that regularly, that becomes a part of the DNA. And last but not the least, create rituals to keep checks. I did a project with a leading organization, Mercedes-Benz, where they were struggling to have people contribute to innovation and projects. So what we talked about during our sessions and after interviewing all the people there, everybody is afraid of failure. So what we recommended the team is to incorporate something called a Failure Friday. So once in a month, people who have taken initiative to do something different but have failed will have to come and present. and they will have an appreciation. And the best failed case will also get a Knight on the Town award. And that changed the whole perspective for the team and for the organization, that failure is not treated as an insult, but it is encouraged, because if you don't fail, you will never succeed. And without failure, you can never know what success is all about. So that changed for them. And we highly recommend, or I personally recommend, wherever I go, celebrate the failures more often than the success, because failures happen every day, success happens once in 2 3 days. So keep that in mind when you're building the culture. Have some rituals to encourage your team. And as I mentioned, I said I will share few tools for all the 5 points what I mentioned. The first one, for discovery, you can use Google Analytics, you can use A/B testing tools, you can use email marketing tools. All these things come with intelligent analytics behind, so you can happily customize them to your need and start doing it. And what are the metrics you need to focus on? I gave few high level metrics to focus on, but depending upon the product and depending upon the outcome and what the problem it is, your product is solving, you can define the metrics the way you want to define. So tools for lean revenue model, again, you can go back, use Google Analytics, your A/B testing, because you want to keep a check with how customers are reacting in terms of your pricing and the value what they're getting. That's the reason I'm mentioning you can use the same tools. But again, you can use the same metrics for capturing everything what you want, and thereby design your revenue model. Tools for growth, you can use a lot. You can use HubSpot, you can use MailChimp, any of these startup scale up friendly CRMs you can use to help build your product and the brand visibility into the market. So everything starts slow, and you can start building it from scratch by sitting at your home and start doing everything on this function. So I think I have covered. I would like to open to questions and see if there is anything I can answer. All right. So I'm leaving my links here. You can connect with me, and you can, if you're based out of India, Anand, yes, you made a distinction between VCs and other investors who are using fractional. Why do you say so? Um, the reason why I'm saying that, Anand, it's a very good question. The distinction between VC and other investors, first, the two parts to a question, and I will answer the first part. Distinction between traditional VCs and investors. Investors are anybody, it can be family, friends, people you know, or small bodies of friends, or somebody who is wealthy enough to, who trusts you to build. I'm talking about those kind of investors whom we call angel investors in short. And we use that money to build and then get to the VC level. So at a VC level, the conversations are very different. When you are approaching a VC, you are either at a scale stage and things like that. And at that time, these traditional VCs would require you to have a more stronger team. I'll give you a small example. I'm doing a project with one client right now. They're into food tech, and they are not going to VCs, but they're going to traditional PE and angel investors. And the consistent feedback they had was that they don't have a CTO, and they internally discussed, we don't need a lot of technology, but we need. So that's how they reached out to me, and after conversations, they understood that why the investors are asking for a CTO, and they were open for me to work part-time. So I'm stepping in now and helping them build their framework for the entire thing. So that's where the first question I answered, distinction between VCs and this thing. VCs usually need the full-time guys because they're investing millions of dollars into you. Second part, fractional CXOs. The traditional VCs need the full-time guys for reasons, but nowadays I'm happy there is one VC firm, a huge one, where for a non-traditional tech startup, I think it's more of hearing aids. They were open for them to have a fractional CTO, and they went only the technology part. They went with fractional, but remaining they needed in-house because they were investing about 1.5 or $2 million into it, and they wanted the sales, marketing, and all these people in-house rather than having fractional. That is why I made that statement. If between the traditional and the VCs, hope I clarified that. Yes. So I know Hello Music. So Karen, I know you are a solo founder. I am a solo founder. You know that with Haplo, and until I found Arun. Finding a co-founder, I think somebody who shares the same passion in terms of making an impact on your product. Because other people, if you're interested in music, please do check out hellomusic.com.au. Karen has been building it meticulously for the last few years. Again, coming back, Karen, I think we have to find somebody who's passionate in music, but also can bring the expertise. On the other side, they're not everybody who's passionate about music might want to do your sales, marketing, and all these things together. So there you can probably use pay on service basis. But otherwise, finding a co-founder for you especially, I think they should be passionate about music and how it can impact. Probably we can take this offline when I'm there in 2 months. We can have a conversation on that. Oh, sorry, hellomusicworld.com. I'm sorry. Please do visit Karen's site. She's an amazing person to work with. But Karen, yes, again, coming back to solo founder, I found Arun only with passion. I went to Arun to solve a small problem. He asked what I'm building. I told him. And it took some time for him to understand what I was building. But once he bought in, he's been committed for the last 3 years. So I would say I've been fortunate because the first co-founder I had really jacked me up, and it went into legal. So I didn't want to jump into that kind of situation. With Arun, second time I have been a little lucky. Any other question? For people who signed in from India, I'm also on TalkMate. If you want any services, go ahead and book. Otherwise, please go to my LinkedIn, and I have a calendar service there. Book the time if you want me to answer any questions. And yes, I will continuously keep doing events going forward. Every month is my plan. And I will keep it on Fridays at 2 p.m. It's my sweet spot. And please follow Studio Navaka and Luma so that you're updated whenever I'm creating an event, and you can plan your schedule according to that. Thank you so much, Anand. And I will not hold you up. If you don't have any questions, I want to give you back 15 minutes of the day. Last Friday before Christmas, and happy holidays, season's greetings, and Merry Christmas to everyone, and Happy New Year. I'm sure I'll see you soon, everyone, for the next in the next year. If nobody has any questions, you can disconnect. Thank you so much. Thank you, Bamni. Talk to you soon.
Thank you.